Before we get into the video, there's been some breaking news in boxing. Oscar De La Hoya versus Vitor Belfort is set for an exhibition bout on September the 11th on Triller. My thoughts on it, pretty good fight. Oscar should win easily. But it should be a good fight. I think it's gonna sell pretty well. And yeah, so that's all I gotta say. But on to the video. Hey, what's up, y'all? Preston from Fight Media 360 here. So this is a quick preview and prediction for Gabriel Rosado versus Bektemir Melikuziev. So if you guys don't know, this fight takes place on the undercard of Jaime Munguia versus Kamel Cesar Meta. And also, this fight is going to be a very good fight. I can't wait. This is the best fight on the card. This is going to be a very, very, very good fight. People think that Bektemir Melikuziev is going to run through Rosado. No. Doesn't mean that Rosado has 13 losses. Doesn't mean that he's just going to get destroyed. Like, come on. Like, yes, Melikuziev is good, but I do not see him walking through him like a doorway. If he did, he must be one talented bastard, dude. Like, for real. Like, come on. Like, doesn't mean that the dude had 13 losses. Doesn't mean anything, bro. The dude had a good fight with Danny Jacobs, so stop giving him crap, dude. Like, come on. But anyways, let's talk about their stats, and then the odds, and then what they need to do to win, and then my final prediction. So, let's start off with Gabriel Rosado. So, Gabriel Rosado comes into the fight with a record of 25 wins, 13 losses, 1 draw, 14 wins coming by way of knockout. He has a height of 5'11.5" inches tall and has a reach of 71.5. Now Bektemir Melikuziev. So Bektemir Melikuziev comes into the fight with a record of 7 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 6 wins coming by way of knockout. He stands at a height of 5'9.5" and has a 70.5 inch reach. So Gabriel is the taller and has a slightly longer reach than Melikuziev, but it's gonna be a good fight. Bektemir Melikuziev is listed as a 87-13 favorite over Gabriel Rosado. I got a problem with that. That's way too wide, bro. That is way too wide. Like, people really don't believe in Gabriel. Like, for real. Like, yes, he had 13 losses, but man, people really don't believe in him no more. Like, sheesh. So now we got that out the way. Now let's talk about what they need to do to win. And then my final prediction. So let's start off with the very big underdog, Gabriel Rosado. Like, what I would like to see from Gabriel is, I would like him to outbox Melikuziev. Like, just keep him at bay with your longer arms, you know. And whenever he's a boxer, he's very good. Like, I was kind of impressed of him when he fought Danny Jacobs. You know, even though I thought he lost, I was impressed of him because he was actually, like, boxing pretty well in that fight. Like, but whenever he brawls, he's okay, but he loses points while doing that. And then he gets hurt while doing that. And you cannot do that against Bektemir Melikuziev, because Melikuziev carries a lot of power. So he could just hit you and it'll just flatten you, bro. Like, so I would like Gabriel to pick his shots from the outside and box like how he does. Because whenever Gabriel boxes, he's actually a pretty good fighter at boxing. He just sometimes just doesn't stick with the boxing skills. That's why he has a lot of losses, because a lot of those losses, he wasn't sticking to his boxing skills, and he just tries to scrap. But once he like, you know, boxes, he's actually a really good fighter. Like, he did actually better than I thought he would against Jacobs. And he actually boxed very good in that fight. Even though, again, I thought Jacobs won, I still thought that Rosado, like, boxed very good in that fight. So, I would kind of like him doing that against, like what he did against Danny Jacob, but a little bit better. Because Melikuziev, he's good, but he can't get outboxed. So, and move your feet around, too, more. Because Gabriel, like, he moves around, but, like, I would like him to move around a little more. Because I see goodness. I see, like, like, I see Rosado as a good fighter. I can see it in him. It just, I don't know why he just doesn't stick with his boxing and just likes to scrap. Like, Gabriel needs to stick with his boxing and win points against Melikuziev. Because he could definitely also hurt Melikuziev. Even drop him, too. Because, like, you know what happened when he fought Masih Sulecki. Even though he lost, he did drop him, like, twice in that fight. And he did, and Gabriel did get dropped, too. But still, man, like, this is like, Gabriel has to win this fight. If he doesn't win, then he has to retire. Like, Gabriel, like, he really needs to stick to his boxing. Because Gabriel, like, that's how he loses. I know I already said that, but, like, that's how he loses, is that he doesn't stick with his boxing. And then after that, and then he just likes to scrap sometimes, And then, like, that's how he loses. So the key to victory for him is to outpoint Melikuziev, because he definitely could. He could definitely outbox him and win on the decision, unless if they completely rob him. I mean, Melikuziev can beat him, but I'm just saying, bro, like, that's definitely the key, is to stick with your boxing. Like, if you can stick with your boxing against Melikuziev, you have a very, very, very good chance of beating Melikuziev. I don't think you're going to stop him, but you can definitely have a very, very good chance of beating him if you stick with your boxing. Because when I was watching Gabriel Rosado's highlights, it's like, a lot of those highlights is like, he's boxing good, but then after that, he just gets out of that zone and just goes at him and just, like, scraps with them. And then that's how he, like, and, like, again, that's how he loses rounds and, like, gets hurt and loses. Like, he needs to stick with his boxing, man. Like, man, like, I see Gabriel as a good fighter. I think a lot of people sometimes actually see Gabriel as a good fighter, but he really needs to stick with his boxing against Melikuziev, because when you're gonna scrap, that's not gonna work against Melikuziev. Because Melikuziev is just gonna beat you up if you're just gonna scrap. So he really needs to pick his shots in the outside, outbox Melikuziev, and hurt him. Like, that's how he can win, man. I see him as a good fighter, man. It's just, man, dude, like, he just needs to box, man. Don't get out of that zone and just box, man, and just stick with that zone. Because again, that's how he loses, man, is that he doesn't stick in that boxing zone. Like, really, like, he needs to stick in that zone to beat Melikuziev. Because Melikuziev is just going to beat you up if you're just going to scrap. So that's what Gabriel needs to do to win, is to just be the better technical fighter. Use your height, use your reach, and move your feet around more a little bit, and then you have a very good chance of beating Melikuziev. So that's what Gabriel needs to do to win. Now for Melikuziev, what I would like to see from Melikuziev is how he always fights. Like, he's, like, what Melikuziev reminds me of? he's kind of like a Russian version. Like, he's like a bigger Russian version of a Manny Pacquiao. Like, if you look at, like, there's a big comparison between him and Pacquiao. So, I would really like him to be the quicker fighter like he is against Rosado. Pick his shots, like what I said about Rosado, and then pretty much just make Rosado miss, because Bektemir has good head movement, and he's a very good boxer. So I would really like him to pick his shots in the inside, dodge his punches, and then just completely outbox him and outpoint him. You know, because Melikuziev definitely has the skill to do that. Even though he doesn't have that much experience and doesn't necessarily have the best resume, because I would say his toughest fight was Clay Collard. His biggest fight was against Clay Collard, in my opinion. So, like, I would just really like to see him, you know, pick his shots against Gabriel, outpoint Gabriel, be the faster fighter than Gabriel, and then just make this fight a shutout. Because he could definitely shut out Gabriel, but he just needs to make Gabriel look old and look slow. And then just completely just pound him up and try to go for the stoppage against Gabriel. Because both these guys definitely have a chance to stop each other. But that's what I would like to see from Bektemir, is to just do what he does, pick his shots, you know. I would also really like him to go to that body of Rosado, because Rosado's body does look soft, so I would like to see him tear up that body, you know, and just pretty much just win on points, man, and just outpoint him. So, yeah. So, my final prediction for this fight, again, this is a very, very, very tough fight. Like, I can't wait for this fight. But if I would have to pick one, I'll probably have to go with Bektemir Melikuziev by a majority decision. I just feel like he's the younger fighter, the faster fighter. I think that he's the stronger fighter and the more talented fighter than Gabriel. And I just think that he's going to pick his shots better than Gabriel. I think he's going to be more accurate with his punches and be, again, like, you know, more active than Gabriel. And I just think that he's going to give a lot of trouble for Gabriel. And I just think that that's going to play a big factor against Gabriel. So yeah, and also I said, who do I think is going to get dropped in this fight? I think I said that, but who I think is going to get dropped, man, I might have to go with Melikuziev. I think that Melikuziev is going to be very overconfident, you know, bouncing around and just picking his shots. You know, he's winning rounds, picking his shots, but then he's just going to get caught by Gabriel. Bam! And just get dropped, you know. So, that's my final prediction. I got Bektemir Melikuziev by a majority decision. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm Fight Media 360, and thank you all for watching this video.